There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. And this place is much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you feel there's no hurt or sorrow.
It is often said, youth are the future. Indeed, without them, there can never be any future to talk of. Zimbabwe is experiencing a rampant abuse of drugs among the youths, most of whom are struggling to find job opportunities due to the economic challenges. According to the International Council Committee in 2015, Zimbabwe has the highest youth unemployment rate in Southern Africa. Because youth cannot find jobs, the majority of them are turning to drugs. Drug use is also spreading across the country's local schools. When we visited Masasa, we met and interviewed a group of youth who are drug users, and here are the reasons which drove them to use drugs.
Mudzimai wangu kune kwakuseri kana inini chandodida mbanje special banje banje pakushanda zoita kuti ndishandisa njere because kushanda harisi simba chete but kushanda kuchenza njere munongo
ini mahebs ndorova unoona pandorova paipa ndoita meditation saka nguva yemeditation iya ndokwanisa kufunga zvimwe zvinhu zvinoita nditsvake kana mari kana chii waziva ende ndine power yekusenza kwacho ninawo yemaherbs ndakatoshaya maherbs anonyatsotosenza zvibvawo waziva saka ndoda maherbs each and every time kusendi ndichombuka nditorova maherbs tosvika kunoku nditorova maherbs ndoraswerera maherbs ndoada anondipa meditation
mbanje ndozida zvisingaite mbanje idzi ndozida zvisingaite ndosaka muchiona ndichimona mix kana ndakaitarisa kudai mwoyo wangu unofara nyange kana ndakarara ndoda ndichimona mix echabo chamba ichi chinondiendesa kuseri kwekuseri chaipo mazvinzwisisaka saka chinondiendesa kuseri.
Pastor R.S. Nicholas, the leader of SLM International, expressed his opinion about what could be the main reason for rampant drug use among youths in Zimbabwe.
We just want to talk about drugs abuse, which is abnormal use of drugs. There's nothing wrong with drugs, but the moment you begin to abuse them, that's when we have a problem. So we've been facing a very catastrophic embargo here in Zimbabwe, with an increase in the topography of how youths have been misbehaving, a lot of social unrest, which is being caused by this abuse or abnormal use of drugs. So I'm just going to mention what I think are the two major factors that are mitigating or which are contributing to such dilemmas and predicaments. You realize that there is a physical factor, and one of the physical factors that I want to mention today, which I think is the bedrock to all the problems which lead to people acting derogatory. You're going to realize that we have unemployment here in Zimbabwe, which is skyrocketing with tremendous side effects. And the moment there is unemployment as a nation, you begin to realize that the youth don't have things to do. So at the end of the day, they are looking for fun. Some of them, they are looking for ways to be not stressed. So they end up abusing these drugs, which are not bad, but are bad when being abused. So unemployment for me is just the bedrock of the economy, which is causing all these dilemmas. And for that, I think what we can do as Zimbabwe is, as the government and as the nation at large, is we need to create employment. If we occupy our youth, we will not have problems. They will not be drunk. They will be busy They will not be high all the day because they got something to do. But because they don't have anything to do and they are in the streets, they end up, doing these drugs. So it's very important. And also, there is lack of rehabilitation centers here in Zimbabwe. There may be somebody who wants to stop drugs, but they might not have the money to go to the rehab. And the government does not have free rehabs, as far as I'm concerned. You gotta pay something. So we also need to come up with free rehabilitations. Also, another fundamental factor is to do with the spiritual. So you realize that even we have people that go to work that still abuse drugs. So as much as unemployment can be 80%, we also have another percentage of people that go to work but still abuse drugs. And this is where I say the government needs to be strict and bring principles that are very radical. For example, here in this place that I live, I actually know a place where they sell drugs, but they can't close that place because why? And to me, it becomes clear that there is injustice. The policies are not really being vibrant and active, to shut down those things. And we end up suspecting a lot of corruption and diseases that are moving in the justice system. So it's very important also for the government to be strict and deal with these people that are actually selling drugs. Because how can we have a coffee syrup which is supposed to be manufactured by the medical departments? How are people getting this? It means there's a problem. So you realize that the government at large and even the society has to fight these people that are selling drugs in the societies, in the economy, in town. I was shocked this other time I was in the city center and I went through a certain place and people were selling drugs. But I couldn't do anything because as a citizen, you can actually realize that your powers, end at a certain level. As much as I've read the Constitution of Zimbabwe, you realize that your powers may be restricted. So what I want to urge everybody there in Zimbabwe is we need to pray for our nation, because there's a spiritual aspect and a physical aspect.
If you want to know why, there's a love that cannot lie. Love is strong, it only cares for joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this bliss we cannot feel. There are dreams, we stop existing and start living. Then it feels that always love's enough for us growing. Make a better world, to make a better world. Heal the world. There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. And this place is much brighter than.
There are health and safety consequences related to drug abuse, such as physical disabilities, drug-related suicides, accidents, and illness which may result in death for some youth. Often at school, drug use results in lowered commitment to education, declining grades, absenteeism from school, and increased potential dropping out. Drug users may also disengage themselves from school and community activities because of their substance abuse, depriving their peers and communities of the possible contributions they might make. We interviewed some parents who expressed their deepest concerns about the increase in drug use amongst youths in their communities. They also indicated how their communities suffer at large from youths abusing drugs.
Tinoti kuadiki wemazuva ano vari kuita zvemadrugs zvakashata, hazvina kunaka, zvinozogumisira zvakupinza musimu munzvimbo dzakashata, unozopedzisira vakutibira. By the end ukaita zvemadrugs mhedzisiro yacho unopedzisira wafa. Uyezve vanotikanganisira vana, vanokwanisa kutirepera vana kana kuita zvimwe zvinhu zvisina kunaka mucommunity. Tatenda
mayouth ari kubuta mbanje mazuva ano ndivo vanhu vese vakawana kukonzesa zvinhu zviri kunetsa muno mumastreets. Vari kufamba vachituka vanhu, vafamba vachidisrespecta vabereki vedu, ende vari kuita magadzi ekurepa, kutuka vanhu. Zviri kukonzeresa futi prostitution nekuti vane magadzi ekuenda kana mumastreets kunoita zvese zvese mumarodzi imomo nekutuka vabereki vedu mudzimbabwe zvatokonzera kana kusaenda kuchikoro havachadzidza havachatoda kudzidza kwacho vari kungokonzentrata nekuputa mbanje idzodzo zvichivakanganisa even health yavo mukati umu.
Mbanje, for instance, what it does to you when you smoke it, it's got a lot of side effects. Bronco is codeine in English, the syrup. Codeine E, it's very bad. It is not good. It is an X for me. Codeine, when you drink it, it causes you, the moment you drink it, side effects, itchiness, drowsiness, loss of memory. You cannot stop that drug. It is very addictive.
A health official, Nurse Nicole Zinyowera, who works at Parenya Tour Group of Hospitals in Harare, highlighted some of the effects which may result from drug use.
Drug abuse is very common in Zimbabwe, and drug abuse is when people become dependent on the drug. That's when you know that I'm addicted to a drug. And when it comes to over-the-counter drugs, what causes addiction is tolerance to the drugs. Tolerance is when you need a higher dose of the drug for it to achieve its therapeutic effects. And a common drug that is often abused in Zimbabwe is Bronclear. Bronclear is a cough suppression drug, and it contains another drug called codeine. Codeine is a drug in a class called opioids, and it's a strong opioid. That means that it has addictive effects. It converts to morphine as soon as it gets into your body. And its effects include confusion and drowsiness because it affects your central nervous system. So if a drug affects your central nervous system, that means it also affects your ability to reason. And if you're under the influence of this drug, you end up doing things that you might not know or you might not have control over when you're doing them. And usually, people who are usually affected by these drugs include, they're mainly teenagers due to peer pressure or certain life circumstances. And when they're under the influence of this drug, it affects their relationships with other people close to them. It affects even their concentration at school if it's a child going to school. It affects it affects their reasoning capacity. And because it causes drowsiness, if you're going to be driving under the influence of these drugs, that's what also causes accidents on our roads. Other commonly abused drugs, clinical drugs, include morphine and pethidine. These are drugs these are painkillers, very strong painkillers that are often given in a clinical setup to patients with extreme pain. But sometimes these drugs find their way out of the clinical setup and are eventually abused because they're very addictive. And just like Bronclear, as I mentioned earlier, it affects your central nervous system and and causes confusion and even drowsiness. So the effect that Bronclear has on a human body are the same effects that morphine and pethidine also have on a human body. And like I said earlier as well, Bronclear contains codeine, which converts to morphine when it enters the human body. Hence, the effects are similar. And then we have another commonly abused drug, which is weed, street name, commonly known in Zimbabwe, Mbanje, which is, I think, one of the most common drugs to be abused. Just like alcohol, it has different effects on a human being. Different people react to it in different ways. Some become very quiet and secluded, and they isolate themselves from other people. And it also causes impaired concentration or affects someone's ability to work. And it can also, it gives a feeling of euphoria, which means it gives you an illusion of everything is well, or a false sense of happiness. That's the effect that it gives.
6 to 6 mune hopozi matrix takarowa zvangu nemixi chakunge chiri mix saka ndati bebi paratidze cv magwaro emutv ende umashekesheke zvitinoda yeke ndoda yeke dero bebi paratidze cv magwaro emutv ende umashekesheke zvitinoda.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love, and this place be much brighter than tomorrow.
The government should introduce public drug treatment centers which are affordable to many and offer free treatment to less privileged drug users. Drugs have become easily accessible to youths, mostly those in school. Some of the drugs are priced as little as 50 cents by illegal drug traders in the streets. The police should do everything in their power to stop the easy availability of drugs in the streets. A lot can be done to reduce drug use among youths in Zimbabwe. Some blame lack of employment, forcing youth to use drugs to while away hours.
Vabereki nehurumende vanofanira kuwirirana kuti vaite chinhu chimwe chete chekuti kana vachinge vawirirana vachitaura chinhu chimwe chete vana vanowana zvekuita. Hurumende ngaicreate employment kuti vana vaone chekuita, varege kuwanikwa vachifamba munzira achasangana neanopfuta tumbanje twake achanzi ngatipfuta anofunga ndo zvitori important nokuti awana zvekuita. Isusu ngatitsvage zvekuti vana vedu vaite sevana vadiki havana pfungwa dzakakoraka sedzedu dzine dziri nhete, saka tiri kuda kukoreswa nesu tidzibatsiridze kuti dzisimukire. Ivo vakawana chokuita mbanje havapfuti, vanobva vatogara vachiconcentrata nemabasa avanenge vachiita akanaka. Ndofunga zvikadaro hurumende nesu vabereki tinenge tagadzirisa upenyu hwevana.
Solution that I think they would die mapoka ruma communities edu, the government, the changes, even our MPs varimo muno Marari, nevanhu vese varimo nharaunda yedu vanogona kubatsira vana kuti vawane zvinhu zvokuita. For instance, church ikatangawo project yekuita zvehuku ichiempower mayouths, tinogona kubatsirikana tikatanga even at community level. We know that our government has got many initiatives dzakaita say the youth empowerment, but youth empowerment actually it doesn't really benefit vana vari mucommunity. Dai government yedu yakwanisa kuuya within these communities, ma-MPs yedu mauyawo ma-communities medu imomo matango matitangiro kuti ma-projects kuti vana vaonewo zvekuita, kuti vana vaitewo zvinhu zviri fruitful. Because if you realize kuti we have brilliant minds kuvana vari kuita madrugs, they have got different talents dzavanadzo, and ma-talents they are not being utilized, and if we utilize them we will have a better nation and a value yenyika yedu inowedzera nekuti tinenge redu rinenge riri pamwepo.
Vabereki vachengetedze vana vavo varege kuita mbanje. Zviri nani vana ivo vatsvage mari vaende kuzvikoro, vatsvage zvekuita, kana kutoita musika chaicho kutori nani, kuti mwana anofamba akarembedza bhurugwa asingabatsire mubereki basa chemubakanzadiridza anenge achitoita ustabhoni. Saka vabereki ndavachengetedza vana vavo vatsvage zvekuita, vatsvage kana tumari tushoma shoma tokuti munhu aone chekuita chekuita. Mapurisa aifanira kubata vana ivo ndavabatwa ndozva kutofamba vaine madrugs muhomwe, saka zvinhu zvakatoshata sitereki satombozvidi.
Joshua Generation is a Christian-based youth organization founded and chaired by Pastor Xavier Mzambi. The organization is named after the late father Zimbabwe, Dr. Joshua Nkomo, and it helps several youths in different communities at large. Here is what Pastor Mzambi said can be done to reduce drug abuse among youths.
Let's talk about the solutions to the increase in drug abuse. Number one, obviously, we said is unemployment, which is the cause. So, it would be fair to say the solution is let there be employment creation in our country so that youths are occupied. So, I am the president of the Joshua Generation, which was formed basically to create youth employment. And we are based on a model that we call a Christian Youth Business Consortiums. where you realize the youth are not busy because they'll tell you that there's no funding for their projects. So we came up with a solution to say, there is no funding for your individual project, but how about if you team up with a group of other youths? Won't that be a solution to the limitations that you have as an individual? So we are realizing that our youths now have employment because they've partnered themselves with other youths who are also have access to various resources that they may not have. So we are encouraging youth consortiums. They're working together, paneling youths with similar business interests, and because they have come together, they're able to carry out their projects. So this has been a solution really to the unemployment situation that we have in this country. So we've gone all over Zimbabwe. We've got a target now by December to have 12,000 youths. We have just slightly gone above 8,000 youths, and this is October. And we are hoping that by December we have influenced our youth into forming consortiums as a solution to drug abuse. Because if youths are employed, if they are occupied, if they have got good peer pressure, then they will turn away from these evil practices. Then obviously, as a pastor, I would then let you know that another solution is to reach out to the youth with the right word from God, with the right spiritual solution, with the right message to say you were not created to be abused by drugs, neither were you created to abuse drugs. So we are going, we need to preach to our youth the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ, who is a hero who dwells from within. He's not a hero you look in the outside, but he's a hero who, when you receive him, he comes and indwells you, and then there's a certain spirit that comes upon you which resists evil, which resists the wayward way of life, which resists the devil. So if youth can get Christ, then they won't need drugs. There's no place for drugs to a person that is Holy Ghost filled, that has taken some time to read the word and understand that the word has no place for drug abuse. The word has no place for being abused by drugs. Jesus comes to us and becomes a person that can indwell us. He must increase in our life and we must decrease. So Jesus is the only hero, unlike Muhammad or unlike any other prophet who died and never rose again. Jesus died and rose again so that he may indwell us and give us a new character, a new way of thinking, the renewal of our mind. So therefore, if any man is in Christ, behold, all the old things have passed away and he's a new creation. So if our youth can have Christ, they'll become a new creation and they'll become an inspiration to Zimbabwe and the rest of the world.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love. And this place is much brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you feel there's no hurt or sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a little space, make a better place.